Okay, part 2 of our segment on the heart. We're going to be talking about some of the systems of the heart. So, another pair of systems to think about are the electrical and the mechanical aspects of the heart. So the electrical system, which has electrical cells, is in charge of starting and transmitting the electrical activity in the heart. And we'll go into that in a minute. And then the mechanical cells are in charge of they're part of the musculature of the heart. Again, the heart has muscles, and they're the actual cells that are doing the contracting. And they're receiving the electrical signals from the electrical cells that are telling them what to do and when to do it. Now, if you're reading the introductory portion of each of these segments, you'll note that they talk about 3. So instead of the pairs, they have 3. So they talk about 3 different types of heart cells: rhythm generators, conductors, and contractile cells. So what I'm going to do is take the 3 that they mentioned there and map them back to that previous graph that I showed. So starting with the electrical cells, they say some of the electrical cells start the activity of the heart. So that's our rhythm generators. And then other aspects of the other electrical cells transmit the electrical signal. So that's our conductors. They're transmitting that. And then they talk about the cells that are actually contracting the muscles of the heart. And those are our contractile cells. So this is taking what was in the introductory section and kind of mapping it to maybe a broader view of where these different cells actually fall into the different systems that are part of the makeup of the heart. So they talked about the rhythm generators. These are really the rhythm generator of the heart is the sinoatrial node. So it's in the atrium here. And it is really the pacemaker of the heart. This is, if you're thinking, and we're going to be talking about this in other aspects as well, there's pacemakers of other aspects of our body, but the pacemaker of the heart is the sinoatrial node. So that's the rhythm generator. So a number of questions in the lab report are going to be asking you about the electrical system, sometimes referred to as the conduction system. So I'm just calling it the electrical conduction system, because this is its whole own system that's working within the heart. So the previous video you watched showed much of the mechanical system of the heart, the different chambers that are pumping and when they're pumping. Now we kind of look at it a different way and look at how the electrical signals are generated within the heart. So again, the electrical signal is initiated by the sinus node, sinoatrial node, that establishes the pace of the heart rate. And then it sends its signal down through the internodal pathways into the AV node. AV is short for atrioventricular. And then into the AV bundle. You can kind of follow the path. It's like following a little maze. And then down the left and right bundle branches. You can see it kind of splits here, and it's going down the one, again, a pair, left and right, going down the different sides of the heart. And then it comes into the Purkinje fibers here, which are these kind of fibrous looking things that spread out, and now these are innervating the muscles. So finally here, then there's a contraction. Once this impulse, electrical impulse, finally reaches the musculature of the heart, then the muscles are receiving the signal that it's time to contract. So this is how the two systems, the electrical system and the mechanical system, interact with each other. So like before, there's one video I'm going to show it here. There's actually one slide that follows, just summarizing, but it's also going to be in the slides that I share. So if you'd rather drop off here and watch the video directly from a link in Canvas, you can do that. There's a following slide that kind of summarizes that sequence that's going to be important for your lab manual. So we'll play the video now.
Action potentials originate in the sinoatrial node and travel across the wall of the atrium from the sinoatrial node to the atrioventricular node. Action potentials pass slowly through the atrioventricular node to give the atria time to contract. They then pass rapidly along the atrioventricular bundle, which extends from the atrioventricular node through the fibrous skeleton into the interventricular septum. The atrioventricular bundle divides into right and left bundle branches, and action potentials descend rapidly to the apex of each ventricle along the bundle branches. Action potentials are carried by the Purkinje fibers from the bundle branches to the ventricular walls. The rapid conduction from the atrioventricular bundle to the ends of the Purkinje fibers allows the ventricular muscle cells to contract in unison, providing a strong contraction.
So just to summarize, the order of conduction, this electrical conduction in the heart, starts with the SA node, that pacemaker of the heart. It passes through the internodal fibers that you saw that were kind of branching through the atrium area into the AV node, the atrial ventricular node. So this is kind of the point where it's passing towards the ventricles. Then the bundle of HIS is what they're referring to in the lab manual, just to tie one into the other. Then from there it splits into the left and right bundle branches, then into the Purkinje fibers, which are innervating the ventricles, and then from there it passes from the fibers to the muscles themselves.